What's up, YouTubers? It's me, Johnny. Right now, I'm in the capital of Guatemala, so that's just Guatemala. Anyways, I don't really like coming to the capital. I do like it for the shopping. It's a little bit warmer, and actually, there's a lot of cool stuff here that a lot of people gloss over. A lot of people say the capital is a lot of crime, just a lot of nonsense, and it's true. There is more crime here. But there are parts of Guatemala that actually remind me of Seattle when I was a kid. Now the part I'm talking about is Sexta Street. A lot of stuff you see on Sexta Street or in Zone Two, if you go behind the, I'm not sure if it's the presidential palace, but in Parque Central where the, I think the presidential palace is behind that. That's more in Zone Two. It's kind of a, oh, it's like, I think it's Perlita. There's a place in the Philippines where it's kind of a hippy dippy kind of place, or it used to be that way. It might not be that way. I think it's Perlita in the Philippines. I might be remembering wrong, but it's more of a hipster place where there's a lot of all kinds of music, alternative type music, and lots of kind of cheap living. And but the whole atmosphere and vibe reminds me of the United States, but more specifically Seattle in the 1980s. Anyways, I'm just mentioning that. Being here in the capital, there's a lot of new stuff. Like in Parque Central, there's some new, I'm not building, but a little bit of new stuff I'm not used to. I got some Moza tonight. This is Bach beer. Um, it's come down quite a bit in price. It's not as good as some of the other beers, but I do like to have it every once in a while. Anyhow, um, there's some changes. Another change is like you used to could take the hold on a second, I gotta close this off. You used to could take the not the Transurbano, that's the blue bus where you have to show ID to buy a card so you can get on there. And the green buses you didn't have to do that. That's like Transmetro, I think, or the Metro. You can't pay in cash anymore, or before you could pay with the 1Q coins. You can't do that anymore. So I found that out. So there's been quite a few changes here in Zone 9. It's either Zone 9 or 10. I think it's Zone 10. If you go, I don't know how to explain it, but if more on the side of, if you go into across Reforma Avenue or Reforma, Calle Reforma, there's there's a new, I want to say a new mall or new, it's new to me. I've never seen it before, so I think it's pretty new. There's a new mall that I went there for coffee. There's a cafe barista there. There's also cafe barista in kind of the more expensive mall, which right now the name escapes me. But anyways, there used to be a cafe barista in Shayla, but it went out of business during the pandemic. Anyways, there's just a lot of construction building going on here the last few years, despite the pandemic, and it's really good to be here. But it's always stressful coming to the city. 2 days ago, well, not 2 days ago, but I've been here a day. I got here yesterday, but 2 days before that, or a day before that, all the buses all throughout the country are stopped. All the public transportation, even the chicken buses, the camionetas, the whole thing just shut down. So I'm here kind of late doing some paperwork for my passport and all that jazz. Anyhow, if you're a resident here and you leave, you got to pay your taxes before you leave. They give you a piece of paper. I forget the name of it in Spanish, but you need that piece of paper when you go to the airport, when you fly out. It used to be they never enforced all that, but this year they started doing it. Just an example of how Guatemala is. I owe 3 years in taxes here. I paid that last year, or maybe 5 or 6 months ago. And it's the same with you. Excuse me. Same with your car. You can go years without paying it. I mean, you should, but I mean, you can. You can just wait. Then when there's a new president, usually they knock off 80, 90%, and then people just pay it then. Anyway, not legal advice. Anyways, I came here to this year's taxes all paid up and I'm gonna get my piece of paper. So that's kind of the new thing since 2018 when they changed all the what do you call it? They changed the residency requirements. They also, I didn't realize they raised all the prices for the taxes you got to pay to become a resident. They made it not impossible, but very, very difficult to become a resident. I was in a lot of the YouTube channel or YouTube. I was in a lot of the Facebook channels, and there's still a lot of contention about what you need to do or don't need to do. But there's quite a few men and women who are finding out, unless you're a retiree or something like that, or maybe a student, you can't. It's very difficult to get a visa. Or there's the investment option. In general, the investment option, in theory, is you have to invest $100,000, but it's kind of like Brazil. It's not an exact number. At least that's my understanding. Anyways, so because of all the contention, I don't really comment on Facebook groups anymore. I never really did, but there are people who will tell you that there's all kinds of workarounds and all that. I don't think that's true. That's just my opinion. What happens is you'll find a lawyer or a fixer who will tell you there's a workaround. They take your money. Either they don't deliver, or you found out you got to pay more and more money and you don't really get anything in return. But some of the people on Facebook went to the lawyers that are recommended on Facebook, and they found out they don't qualify anymore unless you're of a certain age and retired and have a pension income. They make it very, very difficult. Okay, and now excuse me, I want to get on to another subject real quick. I'm not sure how alarming this is. I don't think it's really too alarming, but on uh, on YouTube, there's a lot of videos now talking about the new regulation that's going to affect crypto, specifically stable coins. Apparently, Janet Yellen and Elizabeth Warren have more power and influence than Gensler, who heads the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission. So they're trying to push through a new law where the Treasury Secretary, which is who I just mentioned, the lady, not Elizabeth Warren, the other one, her. Anyways, I had a tough day today. My memory's going. Anyways, Janet Yellen, she can make any according to this law, and my very, very limited understanding, she can make any asset, crypto or otherwise, illegal, and you can't do anything with it if you're an American citizen. And it's way more complicated than I'm saying, but a lot of people are talking about it right now. Ultimately, this is not going to stop it. If this law goes through, a lot of this stuff is going to go offshore. This is going to accelerate the exodus to places like El Salvador, Dubai. There's interesting stuff going on in Dubai, El Salvador, but I don't want to get into it. And Singapore, that's another place. So if the U.S. regulates it and regulates in a way that's not useful to the majority of the American people, the best, and I'm going to say it, the best and brightest are going to leave. That's what I find interesting. This is going to accelerate the exodus of skilled and talented people, even if they're not into crypto. They're just going to leave. And a lot of times they get pushed back. People give me some nonsense that no, that's never going to happen. But actually, I think we're seeing it. We're seeing it even before this law is being proposed. Ever since COVID, a lot of people, not a lot, there's more and more people from Western countries like the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand. They're leaving because some of what's happening with COVID. But another thing is a lot of this crypto space is attracting a lot of capital from all over the world and a lot of very, very talented people. I've never seen anything like it, where used to be the financial industry would poach all the people from technology or other industries, or financial firms and technology firms would poach all the best and brightest people from other industries. Now what we're seeing is crypto is poaching everyone, not everyone, a lot of people in the technology field, a lot of people in the financial field. And I've never seen anything like it. I think if this law goes through, it's just going to accelerate from the lower middle classes to the middle classes to more of the upper classes, where they're just going to choose to to leave and take their families with them and go to other places where the way they make money or living is more tolerated. I mean, specifically Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. So I'm not of the opinion or as negative as some YouTubers are. But if this does go through and if there's a lot more regulation, if the big banks capture a lot of the stable coins, specifically I'm talking about stable coins. The Fed and the big banks need to capture a lot of these stable coins, and it will be to their benefit if they can regulate, tax it, and decide who gets to use it because of not exchange controls, that too, but because of sanctions. There was recently an article, I don't know what paper it was in, but it was an article about how the United States uses sanctions to punish countries. Well, the article was also too about, hold on a second, I gotta shut this down. There's also an article about China now using their own form of sanctions. I'm putting that in quotes because I think it was Lithuania. Lithuania recognized Taiwan as an economic partner or something like that. So China put pressure on all Chinese businesses to stop doing business there. I think it had to, well, anyways, all Chinese business ceased and desisted from doing business in Lithuania, really crippling the all the infrastructure there that's related to like whatever they do there. Anyways, the word escapes me right now, but the supply chain. I'm basically saying they really are really crippling the supply chain. It got so much attention that the media outlets in the U.S. are talking about how U.S. sanctions cripple banks of like say Iran or China or Venezuela to keep them from doing business, or Russia. Well, now China and Russia, well, specifically China is now doing that. So now they're starting to see how sanctions can bite everyone on the ass. Well, they can just bite everyone on the ass and really destroy the supply chain of everyone. So the fact that they're talking about it is very interesting. My opinion is the days of U.S. influence are waning, and I do see the ascent and rise of China, but I still think China, Russia, and the United States influence will wane in general in related to cryptocurrency because they won't be able to control capital flows as much as they do now. You already have now Russia saying Russia says they want to create not a stable coin. I'm just using the term stable coin, but a gold backed coin, which I would call a stable coin. Now I imagine if China or Russia tries to create a gold backed crypto token like Pax Gold, they'll want to try to control it in some way and centralize it. So anyways, all governments want to do that. My only point is this is starting to come, all this technology and all this stuff is starting to come to a head. For the viewers who don't know, Russia, I believe it's my understanding that Russia launched some drones over, I think, is either, I'm not sure if it's Finland or Sweden. You can drop it in the comments if you know. They launched some drones over the royal palace or the house of the royals in either Sweden or, Finland. And that got them pretty worried. The fact that they could launch the drones and arm them and take out the royal family, such as it is, and not really do anything about it is very fascinating. The fact that the U.S. didn't back them up, the fact that they didn't have training and capital showing them how to deal with China or to deal with Russian drones, that's very fascinating. That's very fascinating. Anyways, all this is coming to a halt. I want to get back to the subject I got off. Anyways, I think if this law goes through, even if this law does not go through as it is now, and I forget what the name of the law is, but it's basically they're going to try to regulate cryptocurrencies, and the Treasury Department will have the power to 86 or to get rid of any cryptocurrency they don't like with no congressional approval, nothing. Keep in mind for American viewers, you don't vote for the Treasury Secretary. You don't vote for like Elizabeth. Well, I guess you vote for Elizabeth Warren, but a lot of these officials who have power, you don't vote. They're appointed. You don't have any power over them through the voting. Personally, I don't think voting really does anything. That is Johnny's opinion. feel free to disagree with me, but voting doesn't really solve any problems. Anyhow, I think it probably will go through. I think in the future you're gonna have pro crypto senators and congressmen and anti. And if it gets really bad, it's really going to drive capital in, especially the skilled people, the talented people. They're just going to leave the country, and no matter how much power and influence Europe and the United States has to try to keep their citizens in the country, it ain't going to work. People are just going to leave. With Bitcoin, it's too easy to buy Bitcoin with a credit card or ATM. And just for the viewers who don't know, Turkey tried to make it so you couldn't buy Bitcoin during their crisis. And then a whole bunch of apps, there's a proliferation of apps where you could buy offshore with Turkish ATM cards and credit cards. Again, my understanding is very limited, so I'm just saying that. Well, there are actually ways that I doubt many Americans know where you can actually buy crypto with a credit card. Because in general, most banks will sanction, like if you try to use your credit card to buy crypto, they won't let the charge go through for almost all the platforms out there that say they take credit cards. But there are actually ways you can do it that not many YouTubers ever talk about. And not only can you buy, I'll be careful. I better be careful. If I remember correctly, it's only Bitcoin you can buy with a credit card. But there are some places overseas where you can buy Bitcoin at the spot price or at a discount. I'm not going to make a video on that because I don't really have the time right now, but it's not really well known. But these ways of doing it will become more and more well known if this regulation goes through, because more and more Americans will figure the heck with it. I'm getting out of Dodge, gonna get some Bitcoin before I go, and they're not going to spend 20 or 30% premium to buy Bitcoin. You don't really have to, but there are ways around all that. It's just, it can be kind of convoluted. That's why I don't want to make a video. But you actually can buy Bitcoin. Well, it's complicated, but you can buy Bitcoin either at the spot price or at a discount. You don't have to pay a premium. But it's a way that where you're going to have to manage some risk, but your credit card will not get turned down. At least if you're American, as far as I know. I only know Americans who do this. Now, that's basically what I wanted to say tonight. I've been doing some stuff, so I'm not quite up to date with what's going on in the markets. From what I saw today, gold sold off. It's under $1,800, $1,780 or $1,790, I think. Anytime gold gets under $1,800, I think it's a buy. I'm not sure what's going on with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I think we're bottoming out right now. I think some of this FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt, is being orchestrated by insiders in the market to get a price lower. I actually think insiders in the US are actually buying right now. I want to be clear, that's only my opinion. I think a lot of this fear, uncertainty, doubt you're seeing is being used to push down the price of Bitcoin. A lot of wealthy insiders are really, really buying in the United States. Probably not just the US, but specifically in the States. So I'm not completely convinced we're at the bottom, but I'm 80-90% sure. I really don't think you'll see Bitcoin lower than 20 grand. To me, it looks like the bottom is going to be 31,000 if we get there. Last time I looked, it was at 37,000. Today, the markets are pretty mixed. I think the Russell is down 1 or 2%. I think 2%. I actually think the Fed, I really don't know what the Fed's going to do. My opinion is right now the Fed's capitulated and is more dovish. Other people disagree with me. Just because they're dovish doesn't necessarily mean they won't raise interest rates, but I think the Fed's in such a hard spot. They know they can't. They know the economy's slowing down. We may actually be in a recession, even though I don't really live in the U.S., but that's just my opinion. They may raise rates, but I really don't think they're going to raise rates as much. I don't think they're going to raise rates as much as people think. But I do want to stay on the side where for this little time in the what's going on in the economy, I'm going to be buying more gold. I'll be, of course, be buying Bitcoin too. And I'm more big in the gaming coins. That's very wild speculation. If you like investing and speculating junior gold, companies, or if you like speculating in silver juniors or in uranium juniors, do your own research, but check out the game coins. I think that those coins are really going to go crazy. If you don't like managing risk, then just buy BTC, or if you don't like BTC, dollar cost average into gold. Anytime gold's under $1,800, I would be a big buyer. A couple of days ago, I hit the bid on some of my 10-year treasury securities. From what I saw today, interest rates are down a teeny tiny bit because the long end of the market's starting to go down. I don't think markets believe the Fed's going to raise rates much. I think they could raise them one time. I don't know. But until interest rates shoot up, from what I've been seeing the last few trading days, interest rates are kind of going down. I think the market thinks that the Fed ain't going to do much and they're just talking nonsense. So, anyways, that's just my opinion. We'll have to wait and see. Till we're out of this little rut, I'll be more into gold, maybe a teeny tiny percent in treasury security. I still have some treasury securities, but I'm getting ready to hit the bid on that because I think right now gold is really at the bottom. I think probably Bitcoin's at the bottom. Like I said, I trade a lot of the game coins. A lot of them are up 30, 40, 50% from the lows. So I think we've bottomed out. I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing, but that's about all I want to say right now. Anyways, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thanks.